Hello and welcome to TA for Traders. I'm Nigel Croft and it is Thursday the 2nd of November. In this video we're going to look at 2 UK stocks and 2 US stocks. In the UK we're going to look at Ladbrokes Coral. There was a secondary offer in overnight, smallish, 62 million. Priced at a 2% discount to the close, and the shares are taking that very positively today. We'll also look at Fenner Group, which had a good move yesterday and looks good technically. And then in the States, we'll look at another company that had a secondary yesterday, Constellium. That was a Constellium, let's have a look at my figures, 275 million secondary. Went at, again, a small discount, 1.79% discount. We'll look at that, and then we'll finish by looking at SBUX. They've got figures coming out tonight, and they've got an interesting chart as well. Let's look at those charts. So starting with Ladbrokes, and you can see that today's move has broken the downtrend that we can see on this weekly. It's taken us above the resistance of the 200 week, and you can now see the 20 and 50 are progressing upwards. They will create a golden cross in about 2 or 3 weeks, so the upside progress looks like it will continue. Any consolidation will find support at these peaks, so around the 130 level, and would bode well once the moving averages catch up. You can see that there's positive momentum. The RSI is up at 62.76 and the MACD just going above zero and tracking upwards. On the daily, obviously you can see the extent of the move today. Slightly disappointing for me because half an hour ago when I decided to look at Ladbrokes, it was actually only trading at 130, and I was going to talk about if we had the break, but we've had the break, so timing's everything. But for the medium term this still looks good. That 130 level now becomes support. You can see that we had golden crosses, 20 crossing 15, 20 crossing the 200, and now we've had the 50 crossing the 200 as well. So all that bodes well for the medium term picture on Ladbrokes. RSI moving up in a strong uptrend, 72.01, and is expected to move higher. And the MACD just crossing over with the short term moving above the long term, shouting a buy signal there. On the 4 hour, you can see that we found support from the 50, and that gave the push up. The 20 is now rising very quickly and will create a golden cross on the 50. And it was good that on the consolidation we found support from the 200 as well, so that all bodes well. As I said, we have become today slightly overextended. If there's a consolidation over the next couple of days, that will be the buying opportunity. RSI slightly overbought, 80.29, but the MACD confirms this uptrend. Okay, moving on to Fenner, and you can see we've had this engulfing bullish doji this week. That's broken us above the downtrend line, so it's broken the downtrend again, above the 20-week moving average, and again it looks good. This is now looking very much like a flag on the bull trend, and the next target should be between 380 and 400. RSI has ticked back up. It is in a slight downtrend, does need to move higher, so keep an eye on that. Likewise, the MACD are still tracking down, so you need to keep an eye on those as well. On the daily, you can see that we've now had 4 good days. This has broken the downtrend. Any consolidation will find support at the moving averages. The 20 still below the 50, but they will move up. The 50 is actually going up as well, so it will be a golden cross when that happens in 4 or 5 days. The 50 would give support at 338.7 on any consolidation. We're showing positive upside momentum. The RSI now up 62.16, and the MACD are flashing a buy as the short term moves above zero, and they're both moving up. They're both the short term and the long term. On the 4 hour, and it's just a confirmation of the break of the trend. We've had a golden cross on the 20 crossing the 50, and the 200 is starting to stabilize. Very positive momentum shown by both the RSI and MACD. Okay, moving across to America, Constellium. You can see here it's had a bottoming picture on the long-term chart. The next resistance levels at the 200 week, that's at 13.2, with support at the 20 week 9.74. On the daily, you can see that the secondary offering has brought the shares back. They were breaking to the upside, but obviously the company had a secondary. It's brought the shares back, but they're finding support from the 20-day moving average. One would expect that to hold. The uptrend, the lower boundary is probably bounded by the 50-day 10.71, and the upper boundary is at just above 12.5. RSI starting to slightly lose its momentum, 51.96, but if that 20-day holds, one would expect that to move up again, and the MACD are starting to flat line. On the 4 hour, again, we've come back to support of the 20 and 50 day. It's not 20 and 50 averages. Obviously, we're on a 4 hour chart here. They should hold. The 10.5 would come in as support below there. We've lost upside momentum. RSI 48.81, and the MACD as well. You need to keep an eye on those. The key to Constellium is the support seen on the 20 and the 50 on the 4 hour, and the 20 and the 50 on the daily. Only a break below, especially that 50-day 10.71 would be bearish. And finally, going on to SBUX, which has got figures coming out after the close. Here you can see a head and shoulder formation on the weekly. So a break below the trend of this present uptrend, which would be about 53.4, would be very bearish, given that this is a weekly, and if it's a head and shoulder confirmation, you'd expect to move down below the 200 week 51.01, with probably a target at these supports from March 2015, which are about the 47.5 level. The RSI is indicating we're trying to build up some upside momentum, but it's still below 50, 46.92. And really, we've got the downtrend in 20-week moving average, 55.5, that's giving immediate upside pressure. And above there, the 50 is now rolling. On the daily, and here, it's harder to see the head and shoulders because the left shoulder's here, but you can see actually we did have a shorter term head and shoulders that did break to the downside. We're having a consolidation on then, which is now the longer term right shoulder. Momentum is slightly positive as we've gone back above the 50 and 20 day moving averages. They'll give support. The 50-day presently 54.64, and the RSI is back up to 53.37. The MACD are just flatlining around the base zero level. On here, a break to the down would be below 54, and on the upside you can actually see there is a gap that would be filled if we went up to the 200-day 57.19. But let's wait and see what these figures are. I mean, if anything, the figures are going to be a surprise, I would say, looking at this, because there's a gap to the upside and obviously the head and shoulders to the downside, one of those will be triggered. And on the 4 hour, the 20 and 50 4 hours and the 200 are all moving down. Be careful of that. If we go back below the 50, 54.81, that would be negative, and we would then be testing the support at 54. RSI is going sideways, 54.55, as are the MACD. So a bit of a mixed picture coming out from Starbucks ahead of its figures this evening. Thanks for watching the video. I know when I do these stock videos, I talk very quickly and get through a lot of information. You can always rewind if you're interested in a particular stock. If you're not a subscriber to my YouTube channel, please do hit the subscription button. You then get email updates when I come out with further videos. I cover the FX, the commodity, equity index, and as you've seen in this video, single stocks UK and US. Please remember these videos are for educational purposes only and they're not an investment recommendation. I'm going to put a little disclaimer video on at the end of the video. Please do read it. Thank you.